Hello, this is Joaquin Lippincott, CEO of Toad, and I'm here again today with another AWS ISV interview. And today we are joined by Srini, who is with Amagi. He is a co-founder over there. Welcome, Srini.
Thank you so much, Joaquin, for having me here. Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. For those not familiar with Amagi yet, could you walk us through what you guys do?
Sure. Amagi is a media tech SaaS company. We work with content owners, sports rights owners, television networks, and broadcasters to help create, manage, distribute, and monetize their content. Their content could be 24/7 linear channels that they're delivering to broadcast or for OTT, could be on-demand VOD content, or could be a live sports or news feed. So we provide an end-to-end platform and a managed service to help all of these networks and content owners to make money out of their content. We work with 400 plus television networks globally, including some of the largest names in the business.
That's fantastic. And I'm sure helping people make money makes you a popular person.
Thank you.
And how did you get involved in the AWS cloud space?
That's a good question. We are what you'd call as a cloud-born company. We ran our first cloud-based automation about 10 years back. That's the first cloud solution that we built, essentially to help automate localized ad insertions from the cloud, manage all the local ad insertion from the cloud. If you look at the overall M&D AWS space, we primarily, have a cloud automation and playout system that allows these TV networks and content owners to play out 24/7 live linear channels, as well as have a media dynamic ad insertion system that allows these content owners to monetize their content. So work very closely with AWS. We've been with them forever. Again, given the cloud native component, right? So everything that's been built optimally for the cloud. So use a mix of, obviously everything is Docker containerized, Kubernetes orchestrated, a mix of spot instances, microservices, and reserved instances to, optimally orchestrate the entire playout and automation, if you will.
Right. And you mentioned VOD, so that's video on demand, correct?
That's correct.
That's perfect. Yeah, I know that's a huge issue for a lot of companies trying to figure out really how to monetize the content that they have, and VOD is a huge part of that project. Um, so, are there any other cloud technologies? Since you're in the cloud, you've been in there for 10 years. Are there any other cloud technologies that you've heard about that are either in play or you find especially interesting?
Again, a lot of new stuff keeps happening on the cloud. Cloud, by definition, allows a lot more innovation, people to try things that otherwise would have been very expensive to try in the first place. Of late, some of the biggest innovations that we have seen has been through a combination of AI and cloud, whether it's for extracting metadata out of cloud, doing automated closed captioning, and even subtitling using cloud technologies, essentially using AI and cloud. And more recently, due to the COVID, we have seen a lot more innovation in cloud production, primarily, cloud-based production for sports and news that was always done on-prem. So those are the big ones that we have seen.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. You mentioned COVID, and it's always a question to me in the interview. Is it going to come up organically? Are we going to mention it? But since you did, what would you say the impact of COVID would be? Where do you think it's going to be in terms of the media and entertainment industry over the next 12 months or so?
COVID has clearly increased media consumption in a totally unprecedented way, right? You've seen consumption grow by 200+% across a number of platforms. I mean, obviously on the CTV side, we have seen a massive increase in terms of viewership, fueled by obviously a lot more time spent at home, and a number of these free ad-supported offerings like Plutos and the Zoomos and the Samsungs of the world, as well as new launches from large networks like NBC, HBO Max, and so on. Right, a combination of all three have dramatically increased the overall media consumption. On the flip side, obviously, theatrical releases have come to a standstill. Production has slowed down significantly. So I do hope over the next 12 months, a lot of these will get back on track. But given the large consumption habit that has been kickstarted due to the COVID, I think it's going to be great in terms of the next 12 months for the overall media entertainment industry. And specifically focusing on CTV, we think a lot of ad dollars are going to shift from traditional TV to a connected TV sort of OTT platform. And we do hope to play a pivotal role there over the next 12
so
months.
you're doing advertising monetization for your customers as well?
Absolutely. And we have seen that over the last 6 months, it's grown by close to 600%.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, it's fascinating. And you look at the new players, I say new, but new in terms of you're starting to see advertising online for like Pluto TV or Tubi, Peacock, huge free player. The question is who's going to pay for it? And I think advertising will come back in. But it's interesting to see. We've had the Netflix subscription model for a long time. The VOD's been there for a while. I think people are very used to that with iTunes and whatever else you might be using. You have the Amazon Prime, sort of that freemium model. But it'll be interesting to see where those habits go. But certainly there is to your point, a huge increase in the amount of streaming. So the market has really massively increased in size. So for our last question, let's go bigger. What do you think the impact of cloud, since you're involved in the cloud space, what do you think the impact of cloud more broadly will be on business over the next 3 years?
The next 3 years? That's an excellent question, thought-provoking. Cloud in general has always meant innovation, right? I mean, allows you to have a lot more agility as a business, to experiment a lot more, to try out or provide options to consumers that never existed. Traditionally, especially if you look at the traditional TV networks and broadcasters, they have been kind of imprisoned, if I can call it that, by systemic constraints. Instead of the business dictating what the technology should be doing, it has been the technology that has been dictating to the business what they can do, right? I can have only so many, I can do, only so much of CapEx and so much, processing that I could do and so on. And I think cloud is essentially liberating a lot of these networks from those technology constraints. So you would see, again, first and foremost, you would see a lot more agility, a lot more flexibility in terms of options that are going to be made available to consumers as us. And that's going to lead to innovation in terms of how we produce content, how we manage content, how we consume content overall. I think we are in this video 1.0 world. I mean, very preliminary, basic, the video is being produced pretty much the same way 40 years back, how it was produced, consumed in a similar fashion, right? I think we're getting, hopefully cloud will enable a lot more interlinked, social, interactive video consumption that does not exist today. And I think, combination of AI, 5G, and cloud is really going to be a big game changer. And I think 3 years from now, video will look very different from what we are seeing today.
Yeah, good point. Well, so final question. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Obviously, best would be email. My email ID is kas@amagi.com, amagi.com. That would be the best way. Or to a company address, cloudandme@amagi.com is the company contact email.
Great. Srini, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.